Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the DMI Quality of Life Committee meeting here on it is October 25th. I don't know why I second guessed myself for a second there. It's good to see you all. We've got a great presentation today by Captain Hanson. A lot happening here in downtown. Big weekend. Big weekend for you, Captain Hanson. This weekend, Ohio State, Halloween.
Well, I'm sure Coach Fickle would say it's a Super Bowl weekend. We're saying it's a Super Bowl weekend, and we're ready for it. We've been preparing for quite some time, knowing that it was the double here with a night Badger game and then also Halloween weekend that's traditionally celebrated. So we're ready.
Awesome. Well, yes, the TV did do you no favors by having that game at 6:30, I suppose.
Right.
Today. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see. We're going to get to you. Well, just 1 second. I want to make sure, Peggy, anything you need before we get going with Captain Hanson. And it's good to see you all, by the way.
Good morning, everyone. Jason, I know you're on the road. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Just a couple of quick things, if you don't mind. Tonight is Family Halloween in downtown Madison from 3 to 6 p.m. And then tomorrow, of course, and I know Jason probably will reiterate this at the end, with the downtown, What's Up Downtown breakfast. And then, as you mentioned, this Saturday, football. So lots of things going on in the old downtown, and maybe some snow on Saturday, I understand.
Wait, what? I'm not in Madison. I did not hear that. I'm good. I'm staying here.
I'm coming back for the game on Saturday. So if there's snow, we're going to be sitting there. Anyway, back to you.
All right, excellent. We are very excited to have Captain Mike Hanson here, who is the Central Precinct Captain, which is the downtown area, but basically the main part of the Isthmus. We've been working with Captain Hanson for quite some time. We're very excited to hear an update on all things safety downtown. He's got a great report for us here today, and it's going to take time to answer any of our questions. But before we begin, I want to say just another thank you to Captain Hanson. We work with him consistently and constantly, whether or not it's him, through other projects we're running, or his team, Lieutenant Dave Meinert, James Dower, Ryan Jeffrey, just a wonderful team at MPD. So we're very, very thankful. So from all of us at MPD, thank you for all you continue to work, and thank you for joining us here today, Captain Hanson.
Thank you. And it's easy to work with great people that also want to ensure the downtown is a great area and fun area. Later this morning, I'll be probably after this meeting putting out a blotter. It's just a paragraph about the weekend and staying safe. And there's some things that the public can do. One for this weekend, being if you see anything suspicious packaged to people, alert us, please. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people downtown, and any extra eyes, good eyes that see anything, we want to know. Number two, express a lot of patience because there's going to be thousands of pedestrians going to the game, after the game, all the Ohio State fans. The patients are critical, and then obviously plan ahead because traffic is going to be an issue, traffic and parking. So that will be in the blotter message, but also ensuring that we have a great fun weekend. I'm working Friday night 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then Saturday 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I'll be down here in the mix of it, and to be honest, it's a fun weekend to work. You see cops from other districts and shifts that you normally don't see. And then I gotta tell you, the Halloween, there is creativity on State Street. These students and people coming down to visit, you see some unique costumes. I used to, when I worked it on the street instead of the command post, I'd write down my favorite costumes and share it with the family when I got home. So for Halloween, though, we're treating it as we know, there isn't a Freak Fest anymore. This is since 2019 was the last time that we had a formal Freak Fest. The pandemic helped wane things, and we're okay with that. We're okay with it, knowing that yes, it's a night game, yes, it's Halloween weekend, and it's a rival game with Ohio State. They travel well with their fans. We know all of that, and we have appropriate staffing for Friday and Saturday night. You will see any hefty, strong police presence on Friday night as well as Saturday. In the few years past, Friday night has been busy as well. Some have said even busier than Saturday. So we're confident in our plan. We have a lot of safety measures in place to not only show our presence, but also react should something obtuse happen, and we're ready for that. So that's the first thing on Halloween. And the next thing is some operations that we did in September and October, and those were on Friday nights, and we had various plainclothes and undercover officers working the State Street corridor, and our mission was drug dealing, weapons, and they were both successful. One did happen to be during your homecoming parade. So we flexed a little bit around the parade, but we were still able to make some great contacts. We had some arrests. And our target was people that are doing activities down there that disrupt the overall safety of State Street. And we know where there's drugs being dealt, there's a high propensity for weapons violations. And so we really targeted drug dealing. And what happens with some of our shootings is you're ripped off. It's called a drug rip. And you're ripped off by either selling them. We've seen ditchweed, we've seen drywall that looks like cocaine, we've seen less amounts, and people react or find their person that dealt them those bad drugs and go after them violently. And so there is drug dealing that goes on State Street. We know of the players that are involved to some degree. The op also led to us learning other players that are coming down that weren't necessarily on our radar, but we've had contact with them in other parts of the city. And so that was good. It was good to flex. We kept hearing repeatedly, wow, the police are out, because the plainclothes and the undercovers would radio into the uniforms, make their arrests on State Street or near State Street. So those are two good ops. We'll probably continue those here more in the spring. As the warmer weather, there's more people, but if we see an uptick in any violence or drug dealing, we will conduct more operations. We got a notice from our criminal intelligence section, CIS, that there's a kind of a bike theft ring, and there's several media reports on it. It was affecting the downtown, and there were 3 targets that we got wind of through various means that they were involved in this, and they'd steal an $8,000 bike and then sell it for $2,000, or they'd steal a $500 bike and sell it for $150, or just collect them. And so we did some operations in that regard. And I know one arrest has been made, and I've seen a bunch of emails on the other 2 individuals, and I don't know if they have been arrested yet. But the one was a gentleman that was on our radar, and we ended up arresting him. And then when we arrested him, we're allowed to search where he was arrested legally, and came up with 25 bikes. I know Jason loves to bike. I know Jason is in shape, but I'm just guessing he doesn't have 25 bikes in his basement.
I do not. I have 1.
And maybe some more enthusiasts have 2, maybe 3, because they need one for the road, they need one for the mountain biking, and then they need one.
That's fair. I do have 2.
All right, there you go, and one for a baby carriage. But 25, we call that a clue in police work, going, wow, you might be part of this ring. So he was arrested, and oddly enough, some of our bike thefts came down. And so bike thefts alone account for I think it's 25 or 20% of our burglaries in the downtown area. So we did this massive campaign to talk about if you can, bring your bike inside your apartment, your dorm, wherever. And because these thieves were cutting locks, or to get that U-lock that is very hard to break. And if the police were to come across somebody sawing one of those, we'd call that a clue and suspicious. So we'd make contact with somebody. So that was something that was very successful. It continues, and we have some dedicated officers to bike theft. I just want to share some statistics with you as well. And obviously, I've the citywide statistics here, but as it's pertains to Central District. So that would be west of State Street going out to Park Street and then almost to First Street, covering. So far, we have had 7 incidents of shots fired in the Central District year to date, and this would be going up through the end of September. We don't have October's date or data yet. And citywide, though, shots fired are down 20% as of end of September. I think we had some in October that 20% is gonna actually go down to around 16%. Robberies in the Central District for the month of September, we had 2. And comparing it to other years, 2022, we had 0, 2021, we had 3, 2024, 2019, 5. So you don't want to see any of these, but 2 is considering the volume of people that either live or visit or work in the Central District. 2 is a fair number considering all that goes on here. Overall, citywide, it's a 15% decrease in robberies. So that's healthy. Burglaries. And Jason, is this okay reviewing these stats?
Absolutely. This is actually very important to kind of get the larger
right,
scale of what's happening. We appreciate this and knowing
year
over year how we are.
And I'll just, there's a ton of criteria. I think these are the ones that affect all of us in some degree and are kind of larger scale. Burglaries. Central District unfortunately leads the city. We're at 18 burglaries in the month of September. Overall, citywide, we had 65 burglaries in the month of September. And based on our 3-year average, that's a 20% decrease. So burglaries are going down. It's just, I don't like to see the Central District leading the city in this regard. We do try and have campaigns, particularly now as college kids go home for Thanksgiving break. And then where we really see an uptick in burglary reports is January. Because what happens is they leave mid-December for 5-6 weeks for winter break. Well, they don't know they've been burglarized. They don't know what's going on. And then mid-January when they come back, oh my God, I've been broken into. And so we'll see that increase in January. So we had 18 in Central. East District had 12. They were the next largest. Heroin and fentanyl overdoses. Let's see if this is broken down by district. It is not broken down by district, but overall there are 2 fatal heroin overdoses in September, and that's a 53% decrease over the 3-year average, which is obviously 4.33. And then just a couple more. Stolen autos. We had 3 in the Central District. Again, we'll have a campaign out there. I put something on the blotter, but we'll have more information about it's going to be cold here. Don't warm up your car with it unlocked. And if you have a Kia or Hyundai, there's ways that we can help protect that car. We have vehicle locks, those bars. We have a limited supply of bars that Kia and Hyundai gave us. If people want one, they can contact the police department to lock their steering wheel, or they should go to the dealer for the retrofit. And then the final one I have is theft from auto. And that's something that is heavy on our minds because that always produces a police report and people expect us to send the whole department after any suspect. And that's here today, gone tomorrow. They smash a window. They don't leave any evidence. They grab what's in the car, or if you left it unlocked, they grab what's in the car and they're gone. We don't process DNA for that. And it's not a Miami CIS investigation, but as victims of this, they're upset. They're mad that their wallet was stolen and it has their ID and credit cards and all the hassle that goes with that. But overall, in the city of Madison, theft from auto in September is down 68%. So we'll have another marketing campaign about locking your car and not warming it up here in November after we get through Halloween. So then the final part that I wanted to mention was 2024. And so what's happening in our department in November is there'll be a shift pick, and I'm staying for 2024. Yeah, I'm excited about it. This. Has been a fun district, and just never a dull moment. But officers,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, officers have the opportunity towards the end of this year to pick where they want to work next year, and it's based on shift and movement and working with pals and your family life, all that stuff. So that will transpire. The picks will happen in November and December, and then a shift change in February. The reason I'm bringing this up is our community police team of 5 officers and a sergeant will have a little bit different look next year. The chief of police would like a stronger bike element in the downtown area. And so we're alerting officers, if you are going to work in the central district on the central police team, the community police team, so not in regular patrol, but on the CPT that does the bar checks, that usually works 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. if then on the weekends, you will have a bike element as part of your duties. As for community engagement, outreach, and frankly, getting around sometimes quicker when it's a bottleneck. And so we're excited to try that out and make it a more formal thing, because right now it's kind of like it's either a special event, Halloween or Mifflin, or if you want to get on a bike, go ahead if you're bike trained. This team will be trained and they will be out on bike, not in inclement weather, but I would imagine end of April through October of next year.
Well, that's great news. I think Officer Jeffrey will be excited as a big
Yes,
bike
he will.
enthusiast. Yes.
Yeah.
So excellent. We're going to open it up for questions, but thank you again. A couple of quick overarching questions I would like, I think the group would love to hear about is the Isthmus Safety Initiative. All you remember in the committee, this is an initiative with a whole series of community partners, a multidisciplinary team of Downtown Madison Inc., the Capital Neighborhoods Inc., CANA, Madison Police Department, Community Development Division, Population Health, and Public Health that are involved in trying to reduce gun crimes and sexual assault crimes in the area. Do you have an update? I can give the update too, Captain Hanson. You and I are both part of the advisory group. Oh, okay.
And I did have a homeless update that you just reminded me of it as well, or houseless update that I can do afterwards. Yeah.
Perfect. Absolutely. So I just want to get this group up. This group is still rolling. It's $1 million grant that comes from the Burn Criminal Justice Department of Justice to the federal government. And we've done a whole series of strategies, mainly focused around 3 different areas. First is something called CEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. Significant amount of that $1 million is going to go into certain areas where we've seen crimes. We're using the data, the research. Captain Hanson's team, they have the heat maps to know exactly where this is happening. And one of those locations is the Buckeye Lot, which is the surface strip parking lot bounded by Gilman and Gorham, right next to the bar with the mechanical pole. Why am I drawing a complete blank? I cannot remember the name of the place. But anyway,
Red Rock.
Thank you. Don't tell the owners of Red Rock I couldn't remember their name. And they've closed off one side. They've added lighting. They're going to add a whole series of different items. We're also looking at Hawthorne Court, which the city is redoing because of the Lake Street ramp, and adding a significant amount of art and investment into that space. That's a very tight, not very public, pedestrian friendly strip of land, but that is used by a significant amount. So a lot of this sort of CEPTED. I want to say a huge thanks to Captain Hanson, but also to Lee Hunt, who is relatively new with MPD, who knows a ton. Is director of research. Is this title, Captain Hanson?
Police data and police innovation.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, that's a much better title than director of research, because that actually is his title. He really is an expert in the country on this field. And so we are very lucky to have him there. 2 other initiatives, again, are the Safer Bar Initiative, which is a training program for teams in hospitality. So hotels, restaurants, bars, that train their staff to understand when a potential sexual assault can happen and how they can help. This is a free program for any bar downtown. So if you know any bar that's interested, please let us know. It's free training. And honestly, it's a wonderful training led by RCC, formerly known as Rape Crisis Center. And it really works. So please do let us know if you have any interest there, or any friends with bars would be interested there. And then lastly, we have something called the Safety Navigator Program. They've hired one, and I believe, Captain Hanson, they're closer to hiring two more. And so you're going to see some non-uniformed community stewards, safety stewards out on the streets Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, roughly 10 to 3 a.m., just helping to diffuse situations from a non-police perspective. This is a program that has worked throughout downtowns across the country, so we're very excited about this happening as well. Any questions? If not, I'll go right back to Captain Hanson for his update on people experiencing homelessness.
Yes, so we, in the early part of this year, gave the posture that we wanted to have this year with homeless issues from accountability, outreach, and collaboration. The response from the officers has been wonderful. We do hold people accountable. We're outreaching to people at 4 a.m, at 4 p.m. to say, this is a card full of services, and then collaboration. And the collaboration came to my fruition here in the last month or so for what has happened for the whole year. And I've just been involved in some meetings with Sarah Lim and the Beacon and the county, I don't know her name for the county equivalent to Sarah Lynn, to zero in.
Melissa Menning.
Okay. To zero in, thank you, on people that we can share information between. So we know, let's just say there's 30 chronic individuals that are experiencing homelessness on State Street. Before, I think there are more barriers in place, and I know some work still needs to be done, and we need to draft an MOU to share information. And once we give the information to the police, or from the police to some of these agencies, we don't need to know the follow-up, what they're doing, whether medically, medicine, Journey Mental Health, housing. We don't need to know that, but we are the ones that are there 24/7, 365. So where I'm going with this is the fact that there's some great information sharing that I don't know if that was always the case on specific individuals that are most chronic or new from another community or another part of the city, now planted on the State Street corridor area. We'll be able to share that better with some agencies, and kudos to Ryan Jeffrey on that from our department, because he has been lockstep with Jim Dower on getting that connection with the other service providers.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions for Captain Hanson?
I don't mind kicking it off if that's okay. I do
Absolutely.
have
Well, Peggy and then
one-
Margaret.
All right. I do have one, and just clarification. There's been some discussion about the new or revised language regarding trespassing in the downtown. I believe at the last city council meeting. From the MPD's perspective, what does that mean? I mean, I've been downtown for many, many years, and I would say that this year in particular, during the night market, during events, during farmers market, I'm seeing more and more folks in business doorways, et cetera. Just for practical purposes, what is the process a business owner or property owner should take if they find an individual in that space by rule of this new trespassing or updated trespassing?
Yeah, I love that you asked that. Thank you. And I should have had that on my notes. For us, it really doesn't affect how we're going to contact and deal with people that are on someone's property. I don't know the full motivation of the change. I did hear that one of the words in the ordinance had to deal with homelessness, and they didn't like that language or something. It doesn't matter to myself or the cops. If you are the owner of the Brokaw or other places on State Street that notoriously have people sleeping in their corridors, you've got it posted, and you contact us saying, we want this individual and their belongings removed, we are going to show up and deal with it. Does it mean an arrest? Hopefully not. Hopefully it is an education opportunity, and that's the last time they sleep in said property. If it is a pattern and these officers see it and know that, I mean, The street cops know these homeless individuals by name. They give them rides, they talk to them, they bring them to the beacon. If it becomes a pattern, then we want them to hold them accountable and make the arrest. Some argue, well, what's the arrest going to do? It's a ticket they can't afford. It's eventually they might go to jail if they have a warrant or something. What's it really doing? Well, for that moment, for those few hours, it's removing that person from the business at hand, and that's very fair.
Thank you, Captain Hanson. Margaret.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for being here, Captain Hanson. We really appreciate the relationship and the partnership here to keep downtown safe. And I apologize, I do have an 8:30 that I'll be running to, but I just wanted to know, is there anything else other than you, what you already said, anything else that property owners or business owners that have property downtown can do to help? What else can we be doing to help a welcoming environment for all?
A welcoming environment for all. That's a really good question. You know, a lot of what we're seeing with people experiencing houselessness is an acceptance or a dismissal. And wherever you're at on the political spectrum doesn't matter to the police. It really doesn't. It's the behavior that we are usually addressing. So what I hear, I mean, this is only one group, and it's the business group. I also hear from the citizens, and I hear from college parents. My daughter has to step over so many homeless people by the towers. And the alder hears that. So for us, it's the behavior. And when you see someone urinating, defecating, open intox, let us know. State Street is the single street in Madison that receives the most police attention, more than anywhere else. And it's not because there's high crime or anything else. It's just we dedicate a lot of police to the downtown area, and they're going up and down State Street. So if we're alerted to that behavior and somebody is defecating, I mean, we had that several times this summer. Someone's defecating with their pants down. A woman was doing this. We were alerted, and we addressed it. And we didn't address it with arrest or heavy-handedness. We did it by linking her to services and resources. So how you can help and businesses can help is when you see that behavior, doesn't matter who they are, the behavior, alert us, and don't just say, oh, that's Madison or that's State Street or that's how it is down here. Alert us so we can address it and either make an arresting decision or a resources decision. And
I just add that our staff that has worked with your staff has been really appreciative of the response in helping, because sometimes college students they haven't ever dealt with this before, so it can be scary. But so it's been a great relationship so far, and your staff has been super responsive. So thanks for that.
Great. Yeah, I'll share that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Appreciate Margaret's help too. I don't know, Captain Hanson, Margaret is currently the co-chair of the DMI board of directors. So we're thankful for her joining us today. Just want to shout out my boss. That's
right.
Yeah, it's job security.
Smart man.
Yeah. Yeah, you do it all, Jason.
Well, we try. Peggy's one of my bosses too, though. So yeah, we got a lot of bosses here. Carla as well. We got lots of board members here. Emily, thank you for getting me out of that awkwardness, Emily, for raising your hand.
Hi, thank you, Captain Hanson. I'm Emily Hinken, and I work at Campus and Visitor Relations for UW-Madison. And so we oversee the campus tours for prospective students and families and visitors, as well as like the general phone lines for the university. We've seen an increase in phone calls related to community members, parents, and people from across the country expressing frustration about protests taking place in the downtown area. And a lot of the calls that we get from family members are just concern about the safety of their students with the increase in the protests in the last couple of weeks. And I'm just curious if there's anything you can share on your end for how you all have been approaching those as they seem to be kind of coming up more frequently, although from my knowledge, they've been very peaceful.
every single protest so far since the Israeli-Palestinian war has been very peaceful, as far as no objects being thrown, no fights or disturbances that I've seen. If there's been something on the UW property, I'm not aware, but so it's what we call an educated protest. These are a lot of highly educated UW students and supporters. So I don't think anyone wants to get arrested or hurt. So that's the very positive thing. When we are either alerted or we have people that scan social media, if they see something coming up, they alert command staff, so we have the proper resources in place. Sometimes that's just alerting the cops in patrol. Sometimes that's dedicated in the command post, someone to monitor cameras. And then if the crowd grows, if it gets to be in the 500 or 1,000 people, we'll then start talking about what's their motivation as far as where they're going to go, so we can try and coordinate traffic so they're safe and vehicles are safe and there's no blending there. But you know, it is on our mind. The concern is, how long is this conflict going to go? And also, as we keep seeing more news reports and loved ones that are either killed or injured, or more damage is done, that creates hostilities here. The chief gave us a directive as well to reach out to every synagogue and mosque in our districts as a command staff to review safety concerns and issues. So after Halloween this week, that'll be our task in each of the districts, but for us in Central, after Halloween. So as long as Emily, you brought the UW up, I met with UW police a few weeks ago, and I should also mention this in my notes. Late night vending. Currently it's scattered on State Street and on Broome, and we block off streets at Broome and Gilman for certain carts, and there's large crowds. And back in September, I think it was September, 2 pedestrians were hit by a drunk driver there. Just was an ugly scene. That wasn't the only thing, but for the last year, Megan Blakehorse has been tasked with moving vending. And in meeting with UWPD and Megan and others, come 2024, April of 2024, late night vending will go to the 700 block of State Street. And we're going to see how that looks. We feel like if it's condensed and they have ways to manage their lines, it's going to be safer. And obviously it touches UW property with the library there and some other UW buildings, but it is technically on the city street. And we lessened the hours into the night shift. So right now they can vend until I think 4 in the morning. We're going to have them start at 5 p.m. and go until I think it's 12:30 at night, or maybe it's 1:30, whatever it is, to meet some family crowds that might want to experience this food vending. And then if it's not going until bar time, hopefully lessen some of the crowds and some of the violence that's come out of that.
Thank you, Captain Hanson. Thank you, Emily. Any more questions for Captain Hanson?
I'll jump back in if that's all right. I noticed during the night market that you had there were 2 officers on horseback, which was a huge hit. I mean, they kind of stayed back and allowed folks to come up. What are your thoughts about having more of that type of presence on State Street? To me, it's a softer approach, perhaps, right? It's an animal. So I'm just curious. I realize, and I believe anyway, that there aren't a ton of them in MPD. However, for events, is that something that we could do more of?
We absolutely love the mounted patrol. They're popular, but they're not as popular as Charles Tubbs. He's the man. Yeah. But we have them downtown into the late night hours, 11 p.m. until 3 in the morning, 3 to 4 weekend nights a month. So if there's 8 weekend nights, they're here half or less. They're popular. Every district captain loves to have them wander through their district because kids and families love it. It's a draw. It's a lot of work, as you can imagine. The farm is south of Madison. They have to trailer them up and then trailer them back. But they will be out on this weekend as well. And I request them as often as I can downtown. It's just we're competing with other districts. We have 2 full-time riders in the summer months because that's when they're out the most. And then we have some part-time riders as well. And so we love it. It's something that if we could get more of, we would, but it's just we got to share with other districts.
One I would add too, Peggy, thank you for that question. There was an extensive conversation with the Isthmus Safety Initiative, was that last week, Captain Hanson, about mounted patrol and some of the times of night that can really be helpful. And they've seen a very positive outcomes from having the mounted police there. And so we're looking at how we could do that more often. They
have a much better view because they're higher up. And unless you're very intoxicated, you usually move when the horse is coming through your crowd. Because so in crowd situations, we love the horses as well because they're moving people and they're breaking up disturbances and hostilities.
People do love horses, don't they?
Yep.
Well, any other questions for Captain Hanson? Well, all right. Captain Hanson, thank you very much. We appreciate being here at this meeting. You've always been receptive to any engagements that we have. You've presented with us for a significant amount of times. And I also just want to say thank you for the daily communication. You and I are, if it's not daily, it's weekly. We're in touch. So if you ever need anything from the police, please let us know, or contact Captain Hanson or the wonderful officers we have here downtown, Officers Dower and Jeffrey, who are our community police officers. And of course, Lieutenant Minor with any sort of the operational parts as well. So thank you to the entire team, and thank you as well to Chief Barnes. You all care about downtown, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Have a great rest of the meeting.
Will do. All right, so the rest of the meeting, is that you or me, Peggy? Could be either one.
I think that's you.
All right.
I hit the points on the front end.
Excellent. Perfect. So we just have a couple more quick updates. I think we're going to end early, but now that I just said that, probably won't. I shouldn't have said that. One other initiative, we will end early. One other initiative I wanted you all to know about is DMI is taking part in we're helping administer a new group in the Cap East section of downtown called the Wisconsin East Business Arts Coalition. This is a group that's trying to create a corridor, an arts corridor on East Washington. This is obviously closest to this committee. So if there's anyone that's interested in taking part in that conversation, send me an email or send me a note in the chat. We can get you invited. The first meeting, really the initiation meeting, is going to happen on Thursday, November 2nd from 4 to 6 p.m. at Starting Block. So if you're interested in helping build a business and arts coalition on the East Washington section of downtown, or Cap East section, send me a note. If you're also interested in participating, DMI over the next year is taking part in a capstone project for UW's landscape architecture planning program for undergrad students on reimagining the 400 through 600 blocks of State Street. So if you're interested in participating in that as well, let me know. That also falls under this. And then I would just reiterate that tomorrow we do have a What's Up Downtown breakfast with Kevin Little, the Vice President of the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce. And an extra bonus, I will not be in attendance, so you won't have to hear me emceeing. And so that's a positive, I think, for some. So there you go. You're going to hear Mark Richardson. He'll be on the mic. I'll be on a flight. So I think that's it for me, John, Madeline. Anything I missed? I think there's a new member coffee here in the following week on Wednesday. Is that the first? It's on the 8th. 8th, 1st.
Jason, I thought maybe if Carla's open to it.
An update from Carla would be amazing.
Porchlight annual dinner, Carla, if you want to maybe share.
And I owe Carla big time for that. So whatever Carla wants. And Skol Vikings.
Do we have 20 minutes to talk about the Vikings game?
No, we do not. Sorry, we gotta go. Gotta go now.
Peggy, don't worry. Every time the Vikings
You're breaking up, Carla. You're breaking up.
Yeah, they'll fail. Don't worry. They're gonna fail. Don't
All
worry.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, Porch Light's largest fundraiser of the year is Monday, November 13th. Jason decided to go to Disney World.
That is a fact. Yeah, it's not good. This
And
whole
not
thing's
be
not
our MC. So Peggy pushed him aside and jumped in to help us. So it's going to be awesome. You can get a ticket on our website or just show up that night and get a ticket. Super quick on the shelter, we are bursting at the seams. I think everybody knows we had our high of 291 a few weeks ago. We are now averaging 285. So it's not just a one-time night fluke that the high is 25 people that over which we have capacity for. I put my shout out that we were in desperate need to order new mattresses. And before I went to bed, Steve Brown Apartments was just like, what do you need? So thank you to Margaret for that. So they bought 50 of them. And then before I went to bed the next night, True Stage reached out and said, is that going to get you through the winter? And I said, no, I just needed to get through the fall. And they're like, well, buy 50 more. So yay to our community. Thank you so much. If you know Ferris, he is on paternity leave. So he'll be out for 3 weeks, but we're doing fine. Thank you for all your support.
Well, Carla, thank you again for everything. Please do join them at the annual celebration. It's going to be fantastic. Any other group updates from anyone else in the committee? Well, all right then. I think we're there. Lynn Wood, how about a phone call right now? We can just do this as we speak, if that's all right. Just give me a call and we'll connect. Thank you all. Sorry for that very personal message for the other 11 of you. If you need anything from the committee, let us know. We're here to help. Lots of events coming up over the next few months. We do have our State of the Downtown on November 30th. We've got our What's Up Downtown breakfast tomorrow. Lots of fun things happening. So do join us at an event. If not, we'll see you downtown, full of shopping bags and a full stomach after eating lunch downtown. So thank you. Support downtown. Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Thanks, everyone.